How's the level?
Good.
Okay. Hi, my name is Rich Mettman. I'd like to welcome you to the first pilot showing and recording of Spec, where I'm going to interview local veterans with the help of American Legion Post 108 here in Lee Center, Minnesota. I guess my first statement is I've gotten a little pushback of why I want to do this. I'd like to say a little bit about that. There's a lot of reasons. I've done a few interviews in my garage with local veterans. I've had a lot of positive feedback from them. And a few years ago, I want to let vets know that it's okay to ask for help. And a few years ago, I asked for help from the VA, and I went to therapy, and I did all that, and it was helpful, but it wasn't for me. And I found that talking to other vets is a very therapeutic way of sharing my stories with them, and thank you for Jay here. He's going to share his story here today with us. One of the biggest reasons is through all this is I found God, and I told him I would give my story to the world, which will come out through this process. But tonight is about my friend Jay Strande. I'm going to give him a little introduction here. Welcome and thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Jay Strande, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to get that wrong. It's a lot about respect here. Jay Strande is a 34-year United States Army veteran, and if we could stop there, and I mean that says a lot about you, sir. But I do want to give you the rest of the introduction. First enlisted 1985, retired in 2019, 5 years in the Guard, 8 years active, and 21 years in the reserves. 2 deployments to Turkey, 1 to Hungary, 1 to Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom in 06-07, in Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom, 2010, 2011, Kuwait, 2016, 2017, and a long career. And in 2004, he decided to go Chief Warrant Officer. That's probably a smart way to go in the Army if I had it to do over again. And finally, a little personal note: he's married, 5 kids, 3 grandkids. Congratulations, and welcome to Spec.
Glad to be here.
All right,
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, being the first guest, we're gonna muscle our way through this and kind of just go through your life and what drove you to a military career, a life of service, and now being retired, what a continued life of service through the Legion and the community, and my hat's off to Spec. So what got you inspired to get into the military?
Well, my dad was he was in the North Dakota National Guard. He had been in the Guard as long as I could remember. He retired 2003, 2004 as a Command Chief Warrant Officer, CW5. So that was why. I mean, he would bring equipment home and take it for rides in Jeeps and 3/4-ton trucks.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, we lived out in the country, and we used to see the convoys drive by in the summertime for going to annual training, and it was just very inspiring. So that's what kind of led me to it.
Yeah.
And then in 1985, I put my hand up in January, and that summer I went to basic training. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and you did a unique route. You did a split ops with it, right?
Split option.
Split option, yeah. So you go to basic training between your junior and senior year. How was that?
That was awesome because I played football, and I came home 2 weeks before camp started. So I had 2 weeks off from basic training to the start of football practice. And back then it was, we had to do 2-a-days. And all the years before that, I was never in good enough shape. I competed my guts out. This time I was just back from basic training, so I was ready. I put on 15 pounds. So I weighed 215 pounds when I came home from basic training.
Coming home from basic, yeah. I actually dropped 40 pounds in basic. I went in heavy and with the mission to lose some weight in basic. And they did it to me. They helped me accomplish that goal. So.
Well, I did it to myself. I got in so much trouble with basic training. I think I pushed Fort Leonard Wood 6 inches deeper in the ground, as many push-ups as I did. So.
Right. Ooh, yeah, I had my drill sergeants were a little lighter on me. I joined a little late, but So yeah, any memorable parts of basic training that jump out at
The
you?
most memorable part for me was we were doing our field training, and so we had our pup tent set up and everything. And back then we had the steel Kevlars, or steel helmets with the liner inside of it. So you had to wash and everything out of your helmet. You take your helmet off, take the liner out, and you had the steel pot.
Yeah.
And you go fill it up at the water buffalo,
Yeah.
and that's how you shaved and brushed your teeth and washed your body and stuff like that.
So
So
you probably ate out of that thing too, didn't you?
no, we were never out there long enough. We had MREs at that time.
All right.
But I went to the water buffalo to get water in my helmet so I could clean up. And I got back, and I'm sitting there, got done brushing my teeth, and I was shaving. All of a sudden, I heard this number being screamed out in the background. I was like, wow, that sounds pretty familiar. So I waited, started hollering it out again. I was like, oh shit, that's my serial number for my weapon.
Uh-oh.
I left it leaning against the water buffalo.
Oh, no.
So my drill sergeant, I went running up to him. And, is this your weapon? Yes, drill sergeant. So he added up all the numbers, and he got to whatever number it was, and he said, "What week of training are we in?" And I said 9. So he took that number times 9 and said, "By the time we graduated, you owe me." It's like 400 and some push-ups. And I had like 5 days to graduation.
Oh boy.
So every time I saw him, I just dropped it, did like 25 push-ups.
Yeah.
Well, then, and the second most memorable thing was we were cleaning our weapons to turn them in. I had spent 3 days cleaning my weapons. And I went to the drill sergeant. He said, "Am I going to find any gigs on this? Gigs of deficiency?" I said, "Nope. Clean as a whistle. 10 elevated push-ups, 10 elevated diamond push-ups, or if you a gig I find." Yeah, okay. I figured I'd probably be doing like 30 or 40. Well, 400 push-ups later. I didn't know that you could take a paper clip and go through all those little spring clips in there and get the dirt out. I was like, yeah, well, how are we supposed to get that? We didn't have the tools. Those were the two big things of basic training was everything that caused me to do push-ups. Those are the things I remember.
Yeah, I spent one time, I think I spent an hour in the front leaning rest one time, and somebody came and got me. They're like, "What'd you?" I don't know, but I don't want to do it again. I don't even know what I did, but it was basic was an interesting time. I think if you go in with the right mindset, you can get through it pretty well.
Well, I went in with the mindset that I wasn't going to cause a scene and be vocal. I was just going to
Just do your job.
just do my thing. So I just stayed in the back. And, I mean, I got in trouble a few times, but like I said,
Yeah. When did you start taking on leadership roles?
more, not really at basic training. Because we couldn't wear our rank then. I was actually a PFC because I did 3 years of ROTC in high school, so I got to wear. When I graduated basic, I got to wear my PFC rank.
I did too. I had some college credits, so I got kind of the same benefit.
But they didn't. There was some people that were coming over from a different branch that were higher ranking than us already, but they still had to go through Army basic training. So they pretty much had the leadership roles throughout basic training. So we just kind of did our thing.
Yeah, I took on some stuff in AIT, but
Yeah,
kinda
AIT was a little
sit
bit more because I was a specialist by the time I got there.
back. Yeah.
And that was out at Aberdeen Proving Grounds for 16 weeks.
16 weeks. What were you doing?
6.3 at that time was called the 6.3 whiskey, which is a real vehicle mechanic. So it's not really a mechanic; it's a parts exchanger. So then they bring a piece of equipment in. The transmission's bad. We take the transmission out, put in the transmission. Next higher level maintenance is where they tore it apart and rebuilt it.
Okay.
We were just basically parts exchanging units. So.
Yeah, we did a lot of that in aviation too. I was a 15 Delta aircraft powertrain repair. We did blade balancing, non-destructive inspections, and then we worked on the transmission. We did some seal changes, but nothing interior. Kind of same thing.
Kind of airframe.
All airframes. So yeah, we were back shops. I was stationed 601st Aviation Support Battalion in Fort Riley for my whole 6 years or my 5 years. But yeah, one deployment and yeah, listen. What about you?
What about me?
Yeah. So, tell me about Turkey. Is there what would you end up doing over there? Or what was the mission?
First time, I was there for 6 months, and me and an E6 went down there. Sergeant Wheeler, still remember his name. And this was back when they still let you drink when you deployed.
Yeah, I had none of that.
So all the other units had little bars that they built out of plywood and stuff. So so like the special forces had their own little bar, and 101st had their own little blah blah blah. Every unit had their own little. But we supported Special Forces, me and Special Sergeant Wheeler. Basically, they had M151 Willys Jeeps.
Oh, old school.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So we had to fix them, and they had like 7 of them sitting there, and they told me if I could get one of them, they needed 3 of them. If I could get one running, I could drive it around in Slick Air Base.
Nice.
So I took it. I took the head off and everything, got it running, fixed theirs, which was pretty easy, got them going, and so every time I wanted to go to work or go home, I just jumped in my Jeep and drove back and forth. Didn't have to pay for fuel. So yeah, that was then. And the second time I went was for a year. We were out in Salopi, which is on the east side of Turkey. It was about 10 kilometers from Iraq. And the main job we had there was we took care of everybody's equipment on base because the main mission there was feeding the Kurdish people, because this was after the first Gulf War. And so they had the no-fly zone in the north and the no-fly zone in the south, and the Kurds lived up north. And the Iraqis don't like the Kurdish people, and neither do the Turks. We found out they don't like them either. But our job was to make sure that they got fed, and I actually spent 2 weeks over there distributing food to them.
Humanitarian mission.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
and that was pretty cool. Them guys could make a T-Wrap, which is basically a large version of an MRE.
Yeah.
They could make that taste amazing.
Amazing. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Some guys when I was in were trying to do some of that stuff.
And they would bring us fresh bread every day, and then we had a couple. Me and another guy were there, and we had 2 interpreters with us. And every day they brought us homemade food from home that their wives made for us. Don't ask what it is. I just ate it.
No idea.
It was delicious. It was delicious.
Good
I
stuff.
spent a couple weeks over there, so I was there for a year there. We built our own swimming pool.
Okay.
Which was quite the morale booster. There was people from all over the base that would come to swim in our swimming pool. It was only about 4.5 feet deep, but we had a filter system set up, and every couple weeks they drain the water and put fresh water in. So I mean, it was great. We had a pride beef construction crew from the Air Force built us a wood patio all the way around it, so we didn't have to lay in the dirt and stuff.
Nice little day.
Yeah, we had a wooden fence, and we had a barbecue grill, and we got food from the dining facility, and we barbecued every day. And that was a rough deployment. It was like MASH.
They'll build some stuff. You get some guys together, throw a bunch of wood at them, some stuff will appear.
Yeah, so that was a fun time. That was when I was in Germany my first 3 years.
Very cool. Wow.
And then I went to Fort Riley, 93 to 94. So I was there. I was in the 701st Main Support Battalion up on Custer Hill.
Yeah. The only time we went up on the hill was to do the mission.
Yeah.
I tried to stay down on the airfield.
That's a good place to be.
Right.
All the combat arms people were up there.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Germany in 94 for 4 years.
How'd you like Germany?
Germany was amazing.
Yeah.
I was all over the place there. I ended up in Hungary. That was my second tour. The first tour I was in Mannheim, which is about 30 kilometers from France, maybe a little further. But it was went to Wildflick and Grafenbeer, Hohenfels were 3 training areas. Went there a lot. Went to see New Schwanstein Castle. So if you know anything about Walt Disney, the castle that's at Walt Disney is based off of New Schwanstein Castle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why we're new things, right?
Yeah. Seen the tallest and oldest bridge in Germany, which was by New Schwanstein Castle. It's called St. Mary's Bridge. It was the first metal bridge built in Germany.
What year was that in? You know?
It was the late 1800s.
Yeah. Okay.
So you walk out, we were so high up, the waterfall, when you look down, the water was green. And I was like, but I wouldn't go on it because you could feel it.
Yeah.
No, that's not for me. Yeah, a little sketchy.
Oh.
I went to Dachau, the concentration camp.
Yeah.
I had a perfect day for that. Overcast, drizzly. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better day to go to concentration
Just set the moon, right?
Yeah. So I got to see a lot of stuff. I was in Denmark, did the 9 meg 100-mile road march there, which is it's based off of the drive of Patton to the Battle of the Bulge during World War II and the saving of 9 meg during Operation Market Garden. So every day we did 25 miles in a loop around 9 meg. So you look like a flower above.
Oh, sure.
So you march 25 miles a day.
A day.
Yeah. So we were there for 4 days. Well, it was actually like 6. He got there the day before, then he marched 4 straight days, and then he left the next day. So that was pretty cool. We got to train for about 7 months for that. So we started off just going for little walks. It was a team of us. It was like 13 guys and a lieutenant that was in charge of us. And so we'd go for hour, 2-hour walks, and gradually build up. And then you had to carry at least a 25-pound rucksack.
Of course.
So by the end, me and a few guys were putting 40, 50 pounds in our rucksack. So when we got up there, we felt like we weren't carrying it.
Right.
So that was fun. I mean, the last day we got to go downtown and see what it was like in Netherlands, because that's where it was.
Did all your guys complete that challenge?
Yes, we all did. I had to carry my lieutenant downtown because he had so many blisters on his feet, and he wanted to go check out downtown Nijmegen, but he couldn't. So I carried him down to the bus stop, got him on the bus, and then we got downtown, and so here's this guy, 230-pound dude, carrying this 175-pound lieutenant on his back, down to the first bar that we could get to so we could have a couple of beers and check it out. And then I carried him back to the bus and put him on.
How long did it take you to do that? So 25 miles a day, 4 days.
It took us about 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day, pretty roughly the same each day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One day it rained. There's nothing like walking in wet boots. It was right away in the morning, so we had a pair of boots that we had on the day before were still in the tent drying out.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't have those with. So
hey, that's one of those days you just drive on.
Oh yeah.
You enjoy the suck. You gotta accept it at that point.
Definitely embrace the suck.
This is what we're doing today. We're getting it done, boys.
We got a little medal out when we got all done and everything, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was a good time there.
Some of the guys in my unit when I was deployed, they got
the French Forget, the ribbon that goes. It was a rope.
Silver rope. Yeah.
Oh, that was the shoots and snare.
Yeah, that shoots and snare.
Yeah, you got to qualify on a pistol, rifle, and a machine gun.
Yeah. I signed up for that, but I didn't get called for it. Some of my buddies did.
I signed up for it, and my platoon sergeant took my place.
Yeah.
So I was not at camp. That's kind of why I got off active duty, because my E7 wasn't taking care of his E5. So that was the second tour in Germany. So.
But you're shooting German weapons, right?
Yep.
So that was a big deal.
It was a big learning curve, yeah. But because every unit over there, every American unit has a sister German unit.
Okay.
So they invited us to go shoot the shoots and snare. Huh?
We good?
I'm sorry. You got to come closer.
Well, we're busy talking too.
Little comments from the peanut gallery. We're in the bar area of an American Legion 108 here in Lake Center, Minnesota. So a little background noise, but
yeah, my second tour I was in Kitzingen. I was in the 703rd/701st.
Okay.
When I first got there, it was 3rd ID.
Okay.
That was in '94. And then I went to Bosnia, Hungary, the Bosnian theater for the mission down there. That's when Yugoslavia was falling apart. Bosnia and Croatia were fighting. So we were down there. I was with Bravo Company. I was originally in Delta Company, which was the maintenance section. But then I went to Michigan to learn how to work on a new pet truck. It was a heavy equipment transporter. This truck and trailer were designed to haul an M1 tank.
Oh boy, yeah, those were big boys.
Yeah, so it was a big, huge Oshkosh truck. It had the front and rear tires on the truck steered, and the trailer had 40 tires on it. And the first 2 sets of bogies didn't steer, and then each set of bogies after that, which there was 5 sets on each side of 4 tires apiece. And so the first one didn't move, but the second, third, fourth, and fifth turned. So that you didn't have to go around take such wide turns. So get everything set up right, you can just turn a corner like you're driving a car.
Yeah. Turn radius.
But then there was hydraulics everywhere, so the front of the trailer could go up and the back of the trailer could go down. Because the hardest part of getting the tank on a trailer is when you're driving it on the ramps and you lose track of the ground guide, which guide you on. And then to slam down, you got to hope you're straight on the trailer.
Yeah. You better get good at that.
Yeah. So the new trailer went on an incline, so you could, and then there was steps on the gooseneck, so the ground guide could go up high, and then the driver of the tank never lost sight and could stay straight down there. So. But we could haul 2 113s, 2 Bradleys, 1 tank. So we'd go down to Bosnia, load it, and come back empty with 1st Army. Well, then another division, 1st Infantry, was taking my place in the summer of '96, I think it was. So then we go down
You're in
low.
high school. I'm gonna age you a little bit.
That does, because that was 10 years post graduation for me. That's
Right.
So we go down loaded with first ID stuff and come back loaded with first armored stuff.
Okay.
So it was just nonstop. And we were one of 2 head companies in the whole European theater. So we had 24, and the super head company had 48. So there was, 76, 78 of these pieces of equipment in the whole theater of Europe. And they're all down there.
Big trucks.
Yeah, and they were. They could only do 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Top speed on level ground.
Probably felt like they were rattling apart. I don't know.
No, they felt
Those are actually pretty
that's
comfortable.
air ride trucks. Everything was air ride. I mean, you could go over these big bumps and the trailer wouldn't even, the deck of the trailer wouldn't even move the bogies. But the best story about that trip was I was driving and coming back from the border of Hungary and Bosnia. There was this road that at an angle like this, and it was a mile down. So you get to the crest of the hill and you'd sit there and look and watch until the truck at the bottom got around the corner, because at the bottom was a 90-degree curve. And we're all fully loaded, mind you. So I got this
How many pounds? It's fully loaded for a.
I had a 72-ton tank on the trailer.
Oh, 140 some thousand pounds.
Yeah,
Plus
not including the truck and the
truck and trailer. Yeah.
So I'm sitting up there, the truck gets to the curve, and I go. And there's a big sign halfway down that has a 30 on it.
Yeah.
Well, over in Europe, that's a speedometer. That tells you how fast. That's in kilometers, which is 18 miles an hour. I'm doing 45. Downhill with 72 tons on it. And mind you, at the bottom, like I said, there's a 90-degree curve. I'm using a Johnny bar, which is a brake for the trailer, the brake for the truck, the air brakes for the engine, or the Jake brakes on the engine. So I'm using all 3 brake systems trying to slow down. Get to the corner, I'm doing 30 miles an hour going around the corner. I'm supposed to be doing 15 Ks. So we're going around the corner, the truck's leaning, and we're all going, oh, we're gonna roll over, we're gonna roll over. And all of a sudden, we're going, boom! And my buddy's like, stop, stop, stop. I'm like, screw you, buddy. We got 12 more of these coming down the hill.
We gotta get somewhere.
So I just kept going about 5 miles and pulled over, and we got out and looked at it. So the trailer's set up, it's got 2 tires, the support system, and 2 tires. Well, I blew the outer dual into the inner dual, which blew off and busted the brake chamber right off of the trailer. So we're sitting there, and you step on the brakes, and the air just pisses right out of the box. Didn't have any tools. How are we gonna fix this? And I'm just sitting there thinking, and all of a sudden this girl, another truck driver, is like, "How about some bubble gum?" And I'm like, "You know, that just might work." Someone find me a bolt that'll fit in this hole. So they found a bolt. I took the bubble gum and put it on the head of the bolt, shoved it in. Now I just got to figure out a way to keep that bolt in the airline. Duct tape. Wrap a whole roll of 100-mile-an-hour tape on that sucker. Step on the brake. Oh, it leaks. Hey, it works.
Let's go.
So then we had to lower the trailer and isolate that bogie. So there's an isolation valve, which disengages the hydraulic system. Hook the chain up, lift the trailer off the ground, and lifts the axle right off the ground. So now we can cruise on 36 tires on bubble gum and duct tape.
That's how we gotta do it sometimes, right?
That was a good time. That was a good time.
Man, oh man. But going downhill like that, I've had some heavy,
That was
sketchy experience myself. So, hey,
Talk about white knuckling.
Oh yeah. It's like you ride a motorcycle and you do that. Show me some white knuckles.
Right.
Oh man. So yeah. After that, like, move on.
So in '98 was when I got off active duty, came back here, and I joined the reserves over there.
Okay.
Started out in Wabasha, Minnesota. Yep. Over there by.
I'm not homegrown. I'm from Indiana myself, so
So you know, home of grumpy old men.
yeah, okay.
Wabasha.
My wife probably tells that. So.
Yeah, been to Slippers a couple times.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where my unit was over there. We were at 4th shop, so we tore engines down and rebuilt engines over there. So that's what we did. I did that from '98 till I came back from Afghanistan. So my unit deactivated when I was over there, so I came home 8 to 5.
There you go.
I ended up down in Des Moines. And in between, I made E6 down there in 417 maintenance company.
Hands on travel.
Made E6, went to warrant officer school in the spring of 2004.
Yep.
My dad came down to pin me on. He just got back from Iraq himself. He was over there in 2003.
How was that moment? Was that right?
That was an amazing moment having my CW5 dad pin me on, pin my rank on in front of a bunch of
I
other
get
warrant
chills
officers.
just thinking about that, man. That's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. So that was a good time. I was there for 28 days. It was like basic training all over again.
I did what was it, NCO school in Nebraska. Camp
Ashland?
Camp Ashland, yeah. Yeah. It was
PLDC?
I think it was, at that time it was Warrior Leadership Board.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, they changed it. Yeah, it used to be PLDC when I went through. It was PLDC.
A bunch of new acronyms at us to confuse us. It doesn't take much, but
Yeah. They took BNOC away and made it something else. They took ANOC away and made it something else.
yeah, SLC, senior leadership.
Yeah, that was no fun. But I didn't have to worry about that. Like I said, I'm 86. I went to BNOC down at Camp Dodge out. Did 3 phases down there and got promoted to E6. Put my warrant officer packet in, made warrant officer. Went down to Fort Rucker, Alabama for 28 days. Basic training all over again.
Were you walking warrant or did you try to fly?
No, there was no way. I was too old to fly. I was too old to fly. And the funny thing down there, in warrant officer school, was a good time because there was a bunch of, there's 4 companies down there. 3 of them are us. One of them was us, National Guard Reserve Company. The other 2 companies were active duty, like maintenance guys, and then you had the aviation company, the high school and flight school boys. So they were there to learn how to fly helicopters, and they thought they were shit. They were high school and flight school and had to go to basic training and all that crap. That was their basic training. Well, they had this thing called the Walk Olympics, twice a cycle. So they have all these different competitions. One of them was a dizzy bath. The other one was a push-up contest, running like a push-up relay. So you run like 40 yards, do push-ups, tag the other person, they'd run. One of them was a tug of war. And the first time we got our butts kicked in all the events. And then like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, this is when by everybody. It didn't matter what, we just got smoked. Well, then like 3 weeks later, they're having it again. Well, this is when I started taking a bit of a leadership role. I said, hey, we can win one of these competitions. They're like, we just got smoked in every one of them. How are we supposed to win? I said, we put the wrong people. They're like, what do you mean? I said, tug of war. What do you need in a tug of war?
What's our strategy?
I said, what do you need in to win a tug of war? They're like, I don't know what. I said, beef. Big people.
An anchor.
I said, look at us. We're National Guard reservists. What do we have that they don't? We have beef. I said, I weigh 260 pounds. There ain't nobody in the other units that weigh over 210.
Right.
Let's get 9 people with 240 plus.
Yeah.
So we did. When they blew the whistle, we just went.
They walked backwards.
Yeah. And the other TAC officers were pissed. The National Guard company National Guards beat the active duty people in one event. We got to put a little flag on our streamer on our guide on and stuff. So that was a pretty proud moment for us because we won something.
Some of that in it's hard to remember all that stuff. It's a long time ago. I appreciate your memory.
I got a good memory. I don't know why. My wife doesn't like it because I remember so much little stupid shit.
Well, we got to know when to pick our battles.
That's right.
And speaking of that, how has your military life affected your personal life while you were in, and even after you're still now?
Well, I'm pretty sure the military caused both of my first divorces.
Okay.
The first one for sure because my ex-wife at that time, she was my wife at that time. I went active duty because we had a baby. We had my daughter Heather, and I went to Germany. That was my choice. I was in the National Guard and wanted to enlist in the Army, and the crew was like, well, you're going to be a 6'3" whiskey. I'm like, okay. Do I get to choose where I want to go? He said, well, you can go to Germany or you can go to Germany.
All right, guess we're going to Germany.
The only choice I got.
You can start earlier now. They're on.
Play it back up. Yeah, it's like a 30-minute,
Okay.
and it'll shut off.
Oh, I did just say that. Thank you.
Okay. Good call, Regina. Teamwork makes the dream work.
So yeah, and then she came with me to Fort Riley, and then I re-enlisted there, and I got duty station of choice, which isn't really that. No, because they tell you these are the stations you get to choose
Yeah.
from. You don't get to pick where you want to go. They tell you these are
like
where
to go.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Fort Campbell. I want to jump out of a helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah, fast roping sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, airplanes, not so much. Helicopters, you got a rope to hang on to when
Yeah.
you're going down.
Yeah.
So I'm not I don't like flying, let alone jumping out of an airplane. So we went back to Germany, and she wasn't too excited when she got off the plane. And first thing she said was, "What the f did we come back here for?" And I was like, "Okay." So
It's a good start.
yeah, it didn't last very long. She wanted to go home. So by Christmas, her and my daughter took off back to the States.
Okay.
I stayed. And then that's when I met my second wife. She was from Pine Island. It's over just north of Rochester.
Okay. So Minnesota. Yeah.
Yep. So she was over there. She was in the same battalion. She worked right behind my shop. And I was in Bosnia at the time. I always say Bosnia. It wasn't Hungary, but it was for the Bosnian conflict. So I just say Bosnia. I was down there, and I met her when I got to come home from R&R. And we got along really well, and so we kept in contact for the last 6 months I was there. And when I got back, we started dating pretty serious. And she had already decided that she wasn't staying in, and she didn't like the idea of me staying any longer. And I've been in almost 8 years.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
It's life choices and
I mean, I don't know why we didn't have any kids.
right.
And
Why not travel around?
Yeah, right. But you know, in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that she made me make that decision, because then, you know, what was it? 3 years later, Iraq kicks off.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, and you know, when Iraq kicked off, what was over there? Moving up, driving everything up and down the highways, cooks and mechanics, and you know, once they invaded. So you never know. Like I tell everybody, I said, would I have loved to stay 20 years? Heck yeah, I loved it. But I could have been dead.
Yeah. Yeah, we all could have been.
Driving up and down them IED-filled roads.
Oh, I've heard they were just infested. I mean, if you didn't get hit, you were probably pretty lucky.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't have to do that when I was over there. I pretty much stayed on Balad.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I went down and visited a buddy of mine, and we drove up to not Tazar. I can't remember the name of that place. It's another Iraqi place, but we drove up to get parts. But the roads were pretty clear at that time. This was 2006.
Okay.
But if I would have went to stay in, I went to met my current wife, who is amazing, and we've been married for maybe 9 years this month. We got married in Galveston, Texas, in 2016, right before I went to Kuwait. We got to spend 4 days together before I could go into Kuwait, and then I was gone for a year.
It's a bit of a similar story. My wife and I got married a week before I left for basic training, and then I think we saw each other a little bit between basic and AIT, and then my AIT was 6 months long, and then moved out to Kansas and kind of. Well, I had that 2 weeks of R&R
Yeah.
or hometown recruiting after AIT or in between. What's up?
I need the battery.
For
This.
oh, yeah, you may be good, Jay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Take a quick break.
Yep.
Can I pause this?
Yeah. Or yeah, whatever.
I was looking for it in there. I knew we had that one. I just didn't want to.
Battery's dying, or
Yeah, it's flashing.
okay. Yeah, we had a little battery issue. We were. You need. That camera's jiggling a little bit.
Why is it?
Why is what? Why is what?
Probably because the air came on.
Okay, let's look at
Good.
it. Looks steady to you? Yeah.
They were going to drive down. I was just getting this started.
All right, we're back. We had a little issue with the battery in our camera. We're back with Jay Strande, 34-year Army veteran, retired, and we were getting into his marriage with his lovely wife Tracy now, and Jay, I'll hand it back to you.
All right. Well, yeah, I married Tracy in 2016, but before that, I was married to my two kids. Because between me and Tracy, we got 5. I have 1 from my first wife, 2 from my second. She's got 2 from one of her marriages. So I was with my second wife when I went to Iraq and Afghanistan. And My son was born in '99, and my daughter was born in 2004. I went to Iraq in 2005, 2006. So they weren't very old. And then I didn't come home. I was supposed to take my 2 weeks of leave, but I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to put my kids through. They went through the trauma of dad leaving once. I'm not going to do it again. So I took a little R&R down to visit a buddy of mine down south and stayed down there for a few days. And I did that with a lot of my guys. We had people all over the place in Iraq, so I'd send them out to see. I'd let them take 3-day vacations and go see friends of theirs. I'd put them on a plane and send them off so they'd go see a buddy of theirs someplace else and just get away for a few days.
We'll reset.
I mean, we were in Balad. It was a base of 25,000 people. It was huge.
Yeah, Kandahar was big too.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people were down there, but
Same as Kandahar, was about 25,000 people.
Yeah, that was a big
Because that's where I was when I was in Afghanistan.
Yeah, me too.
That was nice. And but I had my own chew, as they were called. My roommate was in a different fob, so we said he was there, but basically my room was for other officers that came to visit us.
Okay.
So, but I was pretty much alone all the time. I had a pickup Cut B contact truck that I drove back and forth to work and everything.
We had the little Toyota, what were they?
Hilux?
Hilux.
Yeah, I had one of those in Afghanistan.
The Tatas. We had Tatas.
Oh, I had a
in
Hilux.
Afghanistan, and then we had the right-hand drive.
Yeah, right-hand drive Hilux.
Vans.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we like those vans. Those were fun. So.
But I ran a shop in Balad. We had like 45 guys and girls. We had 9 maintenance bays. I had a welding shop. I had a wood shop. So if you needed some shelves made, my guys would make the shelves. We fixed blown up shit every day.
Yeah.
That was our mission. Fixing stuff that was hit by IEDs on the road. They towed in. We'd come into work in the morning and there was a blown up truck sitting out there. We'd have to take it down to the wash rack and clean it out because
Draw straws for that job, or
whoever got stuck working that job.
yeah, that's
So it was kind of rotated through, and but the human was mortuary affairs to go in there and get out what they could,
Right.
But they couldn't get everything,
right.
so you got to take it down and wash. So it was usually not a pretty sight, because there's stuff coming out of there that.
Yeah, such as war, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
So that was our daily thing there, and fixing the blown up stuff. We had some guys that came up with some really good ideas. We figured out like the ASVs. They were the first armored vehicle that the Army came out with. It was a 4-wheel drive with a turret on it that had a 50 cal and a machine gun.
okay.
And they had ceramic plating, but they were in pieces. So it was a piece of Kevlar, ceramic tiles, and Kevlar.
Yeah.
And then it was like a puzzle.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was put together with with metal bands around it to keep it together. And they were like $5,000 to get a brand new one.
Yeah.
Well, one of my guys figured out that if he heated up the Kevlar and ran a putty knife, it would loosen the glue and pull the Kevlar off,
So you could
so that you could reuse the Kevlar with the ceramic plates underneath it. But you had to find the right one, putting it back together. But by the time it was all said and done, after 9 months later, after he figured this out, we had this shelf system, and every piece that went on that truck had a slot of replacement parts, replacement. And we'd have generals and colonels and people coming through our shop all the time, and they saw that, and they're like, just imagine the money we're saving the Army by not having to pay $5,000 for a piece of Kevlar with ceramic this big when we could rebuild one.
Did he actually get recognized for that?
Yes.
We like paying a lot of money in our government for stuff.
Well, I was the one that wrote out all their awards, and then, I didn't write them out, my company commander did, but then I gave all of my men and women an award from me for doing such a fantastic job while they were there. So they got recognized from me, and they got recognized from the battalion.
Yeah. I think a step above you is more important when your boss is saying you're doing a good job. That's
well, and they, if I had guys, if we had a pacing item, as it was called, it had to be repaired in 72 hours.
okay.
So it would come in and say like the wreckers were hot. They were a big item. because they went out and recovered the crap.
Yeah.
So if they went down, they had to get fixed right now.
Yeah.
So my guys would be on it, and I'd sit there. I'd sit in my office till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning till they were done.
Yeah.
And they come up to my office, Chief, what are you doing here? I said, you guys are working. Yeah, but we don't need you here. I said, you guys are working.
I'm sure
If you
there's
guys are
stuff you
working,
guys-
I'm working. So
Yeah.
I'd sit there with them and send them home, and I tell them, you know, I'll see you the day after tomorrow. And then I'd be in at 7 o'clock. That was my job, you know.
When you're the boss, you got to be there.
Yeah, so I did that, and you know, and my Skunk Works guys, they got recognized by Jesse James.
Yeah. Motorcycle. Or, yeah. Okay.
But he had another show where he fixed up cars too.
Yeah.
And he went over to Iraq and built a Humvee.
No kidding.
I got a Hot Wheels replica of the Humvee that I
Yeah,
put
show me that sometime.
I'll bring it
That's
in.
cool.
And they made so that was, you know, we had a lot of good times.
Okay.
So, had some bad times, but we had a lot of good times in
Yeah,
Iraq.
we did too. Like, and that's the thing. I mean, you make a lot of good friendships over there, and unfortunately, you make them in war, and we lose friends. And,
But I'm still with, and that unit I was with was out of Columbus, Ohio.
yeah,
And I'm still friends with, to this day, almost 20 years later, I still talk to people that were in that unit that worked for me
Yeah.
and didn't work for me. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I think you bond with the guys you first get in there with. Because I was talking to one of my friends last night, and we talked for over an hour about our first time in 601st being in an aviation unit. He got there a little bit sooner than I did, and so he kind of took me under his wing, so to speak. But I was older than him, and him and a lot of the guys that I was in at first still communicate. And unfortunately, not with a whole lot of the other ones. As I ranked up a little bit, I did a 6-year contract, and I E5 and 3, and, you know, kind of had some surgeries and made a family decision to get out.
Yeah.
So,
I still talk to some of the guys I was in Germany with back in '93.
wow.
So, I mean, you know, 30 years later still. I mean, granted, it's on Facebook and stuff, but I stopped and seen a buddy of mine. He lived in Indiana. He was retired as sergeant major. But he spent most of his time in the 82nd. We did 3 years over in Germany, and we met up in Bosnia. And so we went out to Kentucky a couple of years ago and went to visit him and his wife. So I used to spend my weekends at their house. I used to call them Mama and Papa.
Yeah, Papa.
And they weren't much older than me, but you know, that's just the way it was. They called us their kids, and there was a bunch of us, and we hung out together. And, you know, it was a good time. And then, you know, came home, and then I went to Afghanistan in 2000. I didn't volunteer for that. I volunteered for Iraq. I didn't volunteer for Afghanistan. I got called and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing. You want to go to Afghanistan?" I said, "Do I have a choice?" I said, "No, not really." Then why'd you call and ask? Well, we just wanted to make sure. So I went down to Rock Island Arsenal for a couple weeks of training there, and then went to deployed out of Wisconsin. And I was with the 4th of the 401st Army Field Support Battalion. So basically,
Oh, Jay, do you want it closer for him? A little closer, Jay. The mic.
okay.
Yeah.
So basically, in Afghanistan, I was the motor sergeant, motor chief, maintenance chief, and I was signed for 2,300 pieces of equipment.
Oh, I smokes.
So anybody
I
that
don't miss
came,
hand receipts.
anybody that every 3 months, me and my guys, I had like 5 guys, we'd have to go out and inventory,
Yeah.
and you know, 2,300 pieces of equipment, and that's, you know, trucks, trailers, what have you, and the trucks all have radios, and the trucks all have warlocks, and they all have SINGARs, and they all have all this crap that's serial numbered.
Yeah.
So you got to find all of it.
Yep.
So yeah,
Eyes on.
it would take us
Asking
about
ain't
2
checking.
weeks. It would take us about 2 weeks to inventory 2,300 pieces. But if you came into Afghan South, you came to me to get your equipment. Whether you were American, British, Australian, Bulgarian, Romanian, you came to me because
Yeah.
we issued the equipment to everybody. We all
It
used
sounds
the
like
same
you're on a
stuff.
tight ship, and the equipment was probably quality.
We had 17 people in our battalion that were
Yeah.
green suiters.
Okay.
And I was, like I said, the maintenance chief. I was in charge of 2,500 contractors. So I was a CW2 in a major spot,
They like to do that.
signed for 2,300 pieces of equipment and in charge of 2,500 people.
Yeah, that's insane.
So and we worked 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Yeah, that's what we did in Afghanistan. We slowed down a little bit towards the end.
Civilians made fat cash.
Oh yeah, they do.
They got,
Untaxed, you know.
they got their work week started on Sunday, and by Tuesday afternoon, 40 hours were done. Mm-hmm. Tuesday to Saturday, they were on overtime, and then anything after 5 o'clock was shift differential.
Yeah, I had some friends go do that. Who was it that they go work for? I'm not gonna be able to think of it right off the top of my head, but some other civilian contractors over there after we left Afghanistan.
I got a couple offers.
Maintenance, yeah.
I could have went back over there as soon as I got home to work for Oshkosh, making $230,000 a year. But I'm like, I just left my kids for a year, and when do I got to come back? Oh, 2 weeks after you get home. I said, no, it's not worth $230,000.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I did get a bunch of offers, and my family was more important to me at that time. And then things
I think
changed.
That's the right choice.
9 years later, I got. We were not 9 years later. It was like 5 years later. Me and her was divorced, and a year and a half later, me and Tracy were married. Been going strong ever since. She goes with me to all my Army events when I was down in Des Moines when I was down there.
God bless that. She seems. I mean,
She was involved.
yeah.
I mean, she was when she was in my
Around
last.
here all the time.
Yeah. She's well liked. I think.
Yeah. You guys are. Community service. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? We're here to serve, and you guys are, putting your money where your mouth is.
Well, and
we
then
appreciate it.
I was in the Legion for a long time. I started in Pine Island, and then I transferred to Eagle Lake when I lived in Madison Lake. And then we moved to Cleveland, and I didn't feel like driving to Eagle Lake anymore. And I didn't know about this place until Tracy and my mom. My mom moved in with us about 3.5 years ago, so my mom lives with us at our place. And they went to a lawyer just up the road here because my mom wanted her will and stuff done. Well, they just happened to be walking by, and I said, well, let's stop in. Well, they walked in and ran into Don Hayden, and he gave them the tour.
Oh, he'll give you the tour.
And
He'll keep you in here.
the corner crew, as they're called, that we know them as we know them, they just treated them like they knew who they were.
Yeah.
And Tracy and my mom told me all about it, so then I stopped in and talked to them. Don said, well, I'll have someone get hold of you. The next day, I'm out for my walk at work, and Doc calls me and says, hey, I heard you want to join. I said, I'll stop in on my way home and give you a check for $50.
Right.
So I've been here for a little over a year, and took your place as the first vice downstairs.
Yeah. That's,
So, but
okay with that.
we do the funerals, and we help out with the chicken and the chicken wing on wing night, and steak fries, and
Yeah, it's a friendly place. That's why I'm sticking around, and our
they make
manager here is great.
they make you feel like you belong here.
You do, and every time I walk in, and no matter if I have my head down, my head up, I'm looking around, I get a, hey, Rich, how you doing from Don, or, somebody, Vern. I mean, if you can't smile when you're looking at Vern, I don't know what's wrong with you, but that guy, his name's Vern Lundgren, and
He's
a
an amazing guy, too, and Harry, and all the guys, Charlie, and
It's a special place
Shitsky.
here. And that's kind of the goal of what we're doing here is trying to. This is kind of a pilot episode. We're gonna try to spread this out a little bit, and as we get more comfortable doing this, we would like to add people, and maybe if this works in our legion, this can work in other legions. And I'm having fun doing this with you. It's a blast. We're kind of quiet now. Those posse guys got out of here. They didn't make too much noise, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's see. How long we been going? We're doing pretty good. We're almost to an hour.
Yeah, almost to an hour.
So let's kind of cap it at an hour. Well, we're going to get through these questions. I think I got most of them. But what if you were to talk to a confused 18-year-old that's maybe doesn't have a plan in life and maybe is considering the military, with your 34 years experience, I know you've seen a lot of change from when you were in Guard. I mean, you've done everything: Guard, Reserve, active duty, deployments, and you've seen the change in the military from the 90s until now. And I've seen it from my time from 2011 till 2017. And so what would your advice be for somebody considering joining the military in 2025?
2025, I like the way it's going now, as opposed to the way, I don't want to be in this political thing, but the last 4 years weren't the greatest, and then we had 4 years that were good before that, and I guess with Obama it wasn't too terrible.
That's when I was in. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was starting, but it wasn't like Biden. But if they can keep it like it is now and keep people like Hegseth in there as the Secretary of Defense.
And that's what war
Secretary
is.
of
I
War.
mean, it's no nonsense. Secretary of War. That makes sense. People don't like to hear those hard words, and you know, we got to start using those hard words again because that war,
It's what it's there for.
it is war.
Yeah.
And you don't know it unless you've experienced it.
Yeah.
So, but no, I really appreciate your time. I look forward to doing this again. I'm sure you left out the one story you wanted to tell, I know, and I'm going to hold that until we do this again.
Okay.
Your mortar stories.
Motor story, my rocket story. Yeah, we'll do that later.
But no, I appreciate your willingness, and this, and that's the thing I wanted to do with this, is I asked for volunteers, and you were the first one to say yes. And along with Regina and my wife running the computer over there, appreciate all you guys from my heart to yours. And I truly believe this is a good idea and will be therapeutic for many veterans. And
I believe so too. I always feel better talking about that stuff when I'm talking to a veteran
Yeah.
person. Like I told you and your wife before, it's a lot harder to talk to a civilian that doesn't know shit from Shanola.
They don't. And
You try to tell them, yeah, I got attacked by a 108 millimeter rocket, and they're like, and how big is that?
it's a big one.
Big enough.
Yeah, get out your measuring tape. Little big round.
Yeah.
No, but again, thank you.
Yep.
This has been a blast. I'm sure we could go for more in 2-3 hours. And
Sure we could, but my throat's gonna get sore.
Yeah. I think it's a good dry run.
Yeah,
it's a good
not so
trial
bad.
run. Yeah.
Next time, we'll just change seats.
That's fine with me. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll learn some things about each other.
I'm sure we will.
Again, let's have a good night. Thank you, sir.
You betcha, anytime.
And thank you for your service.
You too, sir.
Yes.